Well, hey all, welcome my art students back to the art room. Here we go, let's tackle some letters. Once again, we've started our 2-point perspective drawing. We're creating this really cool surreal landscape. But we want you to do something more complex with your landscape than just boxes with bits cut out, okay? Letters are a really interesting way to start applying this theoretical 2-point perspective system to more complex forms, all right? So let's start with the letter E. What I'd like everyone to do is let's establish a horizon line with 2 vanishing points. Take your ruler. Let's put in a horizon line. And at the end of the horizon line on each side, let's establish vanishing point A on the left-hand side, vanishing point B on the right-hand side. Okay? Now, we like to do a letter E. Oh, I'm forgetting. Your name. And then whatever your class period is, right? I always write sample. Okay. But let's start first with the box. The reason I like to start first with the box, we're going to go above the horizon line. We're going to do an E in 3 different views, above, on, and below the horizon line. The reason I like to use an E as a practice is it's actually pretty complex. It's got a lot of these little ledges, okay? But we're going to start with our E facing this vanishing point B side, because it's actually easier to have the face of these letters going away from you in space so that you're seeing the simpler spine than seeing the ends. You'll see why. Okay, so let's first draw in our box above the horizon line. The reason I like to start with a box is because it's going to give us parameters that this letter has to fit in, and it's almost like a drawing check for ourselves. If we see a line exiting outside this frame edge, we know we've done something wrong with the perspective. Now the other thing I want you to do is make your face side on vanishing point B much wider, okay, than your spine side on the opposite, right? So we're going to have kind of like a thin side to our letter, which is going to be the which is going to be the spine, and then the wider face side where we're going to draw the E. Okay, so there it is. There's our initial box frame. So the first thing we're going to do is draw the face of the E on the frame of this box. So we're going to line up and think kind of like Lincoln Logs. We're going to draw in the spine of the E. And then we're going to also give ourselves some dots. And this is going to help define the top arm. 2 dots to define the middle arm, going back in space. And then a final dot to define the bottom arm. And I need to space those out a little bit better. Those got a little off. So I'm going to space those out a little bit better so they're a bit more even. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to line up from those dots to the same side I'm working on, which is the vanishing point B side. And I'm going to start drawing in the arms or the fingers of that E. Right, so we're just continuing to increase the complexity of what we're drawing. Cool. All right, now I'm going to erase any parts of my little guide that don't make an E. And I'm also going to, so it's easier to see in the video, let me give a little shading so that everybody can really see what I'm looking at as the face of the E. Can everybody see that face of the E? There it is. Okay. Now, I can see the underside edges of all of these fingers. So the last thing I need to do is go from my bottom intersection point to opposite vanishing point A. I'll erase the extra part of the frame edges that no longer create the E. Whoop, and there's my E above the horizon line. Let's do an E on the horizon line. Let's start with our initial vertical. Go ahead. Cut right through. Remember, however tall you make that initial vertical is how tall your E is going to be, your letter's going to be. Let's draw in the face. Make this side a little bit wider on your vanishing point B side. Let's draw on the face of that E. Now I'm not drawing fully to the vanishing point, just to help save a little bit of time. And then I'm going to put in the spine, or what creates the back edge of that E, like so. And now let's go ahead. Ooh, this E is going to be a little bit chunkier. I'm going to erase where this box overlaps the horizon line. And once again, we're going to start by drawing the face of that E. So let's put in the spine, and it's 4 fingers, those little bars that come off of it. Okay, so there's the spine, and then once again, my dots, 1, 2, 3, there we go. And we're going to go to opposite vanishing point. Or, I'm sorry, not opposite vanishing point, I apologize, same side vanishing point. We're on the vanishing point B side, so we're drawing to vanishing point B. I'm going to erase the extra bits here. Okay. Give it a little shading so we can all see what I'm talking about the face of this letter in space. You don't have to do this, I just want everybody to be able to see the face that we're looking at, that we're talking about. Okay, there's the face of the E. Now we're sitting on the horizon line, so we're going to see the top underside of this ledge, and we're going to see the bottom top side of this ledge. We won't see anything happening there, tops or bottoms, since it crossed over the horizon line. And then we're going to go to draw back to our vanishing point, back to our vanishing point, and we'll erase the part of the box that doesn't create the E. Cool, E on the horizon line. Let's do an E that's below the horizon line. But this time we're going to do a little bit more complex view. This time we're going to switch the face from the vanishing point B side, so we're not looking at this blocky spine, but so that we're looking at the ends of those fingers, and you'll see how much that really increases the complexity of what we're talking about here. So first, draw your initial vertical. This time we're going to give ourselves a lot more space. Here, in fact, we'll extend that a bit more even. Okay, on the vanishing point A side. And then we're going to make the vanishing point B side skinnier. So we're going to flip our E this time so it goes on the vanishing point A side. That's where the face will be. And you'll see how much this increases the complexity of your letters. Now, if you're feeling confident, awesome. Go for this complexity. If you're not feeling so confident, think about keeping your letters facing the vanishing point B side, so it's not as tricky if this is really kind of throwing you through a loop. It's a way for you to kind of modify the project to your abilities and what you're kind of understanding at this point, right? It's a way that we can kind of make it a bit more comfortable to learn this drawing theory. All right, so there's my box below the horizon line. Now I'm going to put the face, this time vanishing point A side. So let's line our ruler up. Let's put in the spine. And once again, we're going to measure out using little dots, just kind of where we want those fingers of the E to fall. I'm on the vanishing point A side, so I'm lining up with the vanishing point A side vanishing point. Okay, and once again, I'm going to just shade in or give some little blocking lines here for the face of the E, so we all know what we're looking at. So there's the face of my E on vanishing point A side. Do a little bit of shading there so we can all see it. There's the E. Okay, now here's where it gets more complicated. We see a lot more happening with these fingers on the vanishing point B side. So now we have to draw in where these blocky little fingers end on vanishing point B side, as well as some more complex stuff happening with the top sides of these little ledges from the from these little finger bits that stick out. Cool. Okay, so now if you kind of picture it this way, I still have to draw in back to vanishing point A here from the opposite corner so I can define the top edge of the letter, those fingers of the E, and I also am going to have to define where these little ledges also intersect with this spine. So you can see what I mean by it's just a bit more of a complex view if I switch it so I see the end caps of the C as opposed to that one smooth side view. All right, and now all that's left for me to do is erase the little extra bits of the box that don't create that E. And there it is. There's my E above, on, and below the horizon line. Once again, if you feel like you're struggling a little bit with this, stick with it on the vanishing point B side. But if you feel like you got it and you're looking for a challenge for yourself, try rotating the face of your letter to that opposite vanishing point A side so you can get some more of this complexity that's happening. Okay, terrific. Let's now apply this to our project.